Díomh agus tá fáilteró the Bookline here on Liffey Sound 96.4 FM. Teresa Quinn is my name, and I'm delighted to welcome and chat with many of our Irish authors here on Bookline about their books, fiction and non-fiction, and indeed their writing journey. It's my pleasure to explore these avenues with all of our authors, and today my guest is Seamus McKenna, who has recently published his debut novel, The Maker's Name. Must say, a very interesting and a powerful power struggle between brothers. You can contact us on info@liffeysoundfm.ie, or indeed you can click on the icon on our webpage and listen to us no matter where you are in the world. But we're also delighted to share our Bookline chats with some of our sister community radio stations. They've been Near FM on Dublin's north side, Phoenix FM in Blanchardstown, Together FM in Ballyfermot, Athlone, Castlebar, Connemara, Ross FM in Roscommon, Eden FM in Edenderry, Radio Corcabashkin in Kilkee, Kinvara, Youghal and Kilkenny City Community Radio. And I do hope that all their listeners and readers enjoy the programmes as much as I enjoy having them and chatting with the authors, and indeed hope the authors enjoy them as well. So after all that big long intro, Seamus, Cogorvacus and welcome to Bookline, and congratulations on the publication of The Maker's Name. I must say it was full of suspense, multi-plots, and this power struggle between the two brothers. Must say I enjoyed reading it. Perhaps you'd tell us just a little bit about yourself and even your writing.
Thank you very much, Teresa, and it's great to be on the programme. I was really looking forward to it, and I'm very impressed with the range of other community stations that you send the material to, because I'm especially impressed that it goes to Kilkenny City, because I'm from that part of the world. I grew up in Waterford, where my father had a butcher's shop. But he was from Kilkenny City, and my mother grew up in Three Castles, which is near Freshford in North Kilkenny. Her father was a famous hurler. He has All-Ireland medals, and he was very well known in the 1930s. And I actually got to do a programme on the Sunday Miscellany on RTE regarding my grandfather. And I was very happy with that. But like I say, I grew up in Waterford. My father had a butcher shop, so I never practiced as a butcher, but I was certainly around the butcher shop, and I was around the slaughterhouse. And you'll remember from the book that the prologue kind of goes into the practice of butchering animals, and some people found that to be quite dramatic. Because there's a lot of blood and gore, and people have said that it set the story up, for the dark deeds that were going to come down the road a little bit. So I was very happy to hear about that. I suppose everybody, to a large extent, writes from their own experiences, and I'm no exception to that. My original qualification was in civil engineering, and then I got an MBA from Trinity College in 1997. And after that, I went overseas for a number of years, and I worked in Brussels, I worked in Holland, I had stints in Malaysia, and I got used to going to Macau in China, so I was able to write about that as well. And then I came back to Ireland, and that was in about 2003. And the Celtic Tiger was going like Billio at that stage. So I got involved in property development. That went extremely well until the crash came in 2008. And then I'm afraid things came tumbling down a little bit, well, quite a good bit actually. And I found myself for the next long number, about 10 years, dealing with various banks and other institutions similar to NAMA. You know, I was one of those unfortunate people. Well, I suppose I made my own bed, so I had to lie in it. But that also gave me quite a bit of experience. And then in 22, I was delighted to be accepted onto the Masters in Creative Writing course in DCU. And that was a full-time 1-year course. And I graduated with an MA in Creative Writing in 2023. Wonderful, wonderful experience. And talking about life experience and career and everything like that, at one stage, the professor there, Darren McCann, who's in charge of the creative writing program, he said to me, you know, Seamus, he said, your life and your experience was really, that was research that you were doing for your writing. And you know, how true that is. So that's the way I look at it.
So your work experience, your life experience was ongoing research when you didn't realize that it was research.
Absolutely correct. That man it shows the wisdom that he had, that he was able to put his finger on that.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of debut authors, you know, or people who are starting out will be told to write from what they know and from their experience before you start researching into things that are way beyond what would be everyday life for them.
Exactly.
Because it does give you a grounding to...
Of course. It's a tremendous starting point.
It is. So, did you have much more research then to do for The Maker's Name before you...
No, not really. As I say, I wrote from my experience, but of course, another very important thing was the actual writing technique. And I suppose I wasn't born with that. No, maybe I was, but it wasn't obvious. What I'm trying to say is that I had to learn how to put stories together. I had to learn how to structure sentences. I had to learn how to use words and vocabulary and so on and so forth. And I certainly got that from my reading experience. I've been a reader since the very, very youngest age. When I was just about able to read, an uncle of mine who was a Christian brother started sending me books. The first one he sent me was Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I enjoyed that, and he'd occasionally come and visit. He was my mother's brother, and he'd ask me in the kindest possible way about my experience with the books, and we'd discuss them, you know. And then he sent me The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, and after that he sent me Coral Island, Valentine. Then he sent me another Robert Louis Stevenson book, Kidnapped, and that gave me a tremendous grounding in reading. And then as I grew up, I obviously found my own way to acquire books, and I read voraciously all over the place. I read Graham Greene, read the Muriel Spark, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Yep, you'll remember that. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig. Like I say, everything that I could get my hands on of Graham Greene. I read John McGahern. I couldn't wait to get his books. Then later on, certain of the Booker Prize winners impressed me, like White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. And then some of what would be regarded as classics. One that I really, really like, and I've read it many times, is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. I see they're nodding there.
It's a fabulous book, I must say.
Absolutely.
And actually made a very, very good television series as well.
You're absolutely spot on. I have it as the box set. Jeremy Irons.
Exactly.
And they did a tremendous job on that. And they were very true to to the actual book.
Do the novel, yes.
Yeah. There was
We're not always.
Oh, tell me about it. There was a film made of it, and they made an awful mess of it altogether. It was hard to watch for a lot of reasons, but primarily because they practically wrote a different book, you know.
They rewrote the book.
They did.
Yeah, no,
But
the television series.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant is right, yeah. So, you know, all those various influences came together, and then when I was about 17, I got the urge to write, and I remember buying. I saw an ad in the local paper, the Munster Express, and I bought a portable typewriter, and I sent away for a touch typing course. And I worked hard at that. Now I can type quite well, you know. I can. It's great. The computer keyboard is different from the typewriter, but the principle is the same, and it's great that I can do that. I find that quite satisfying. So then in the 1970s, I started sending my letters to the Irish Times. And in 1978, I had my first letter published in the Irish Times. And long story short, I've had hundreds of them in the Irish Times since then. So much so that my next book is going to be a collection of those letters with essays to back them all up, to show or allow people to read the kind of situation that existed at the time that I wrote those letters. So there's history there. And also it's a bit of a memoir, because I'm writing about my own personal experiences at the time when I wrote those letters. Some of them were written with feeling, you know. I felt strongly about stuff. So that is obvious in the letters, even if I say so myself. And I was absolutely delighted that the letters editors in the Irish Times felt able to publish me. That was great. That was a wonderful feeling. I love to see my name in print and see my name underneath something that I've written. That's a tremendous satisfaction.
And I don't think it ever goes, does it?
No, it never goes. No, it never goes.
But seeing it in print on the bookshelf must have been an extra special one for the maker's name.
Brilliant. And the people in the Minute Bookshop have been extremely good about that. They've been very, very supportive, and I'm really grateful to them for that. Now, I've branched out since. It's now in Kenny's in Galway. It's in Alan Hanna's bookshop in Rathmines. And, you know, gradually I'm getting it accepted by various other bookshops as well.
But it is, and I mean, the cover of the book is very eye-catching.
Is it?
I don't care for anyone. Well, I mean, it's a bright yellow cover.
Yep.
And
hard to miss.
And a knife in someone's hand, fist. But I mean, I know people say, oh, well, you know, you're depending on the book to sell it. But I think for somebody who doesn't know anything about the book or the author, a cover really does make you pick up a book.
Absolutely.
I think the cover is very, very important.
Yeah, 100%. This say you can't judge a book by the cover. Maybe it's true, but people don't believe it's true. They do judge books by their cover.
Well, it attracts you to it, and it gets you to lift it and read the blurb at the back of it, or the,
absolutely,
you know, addition, the first chapter or the prologue or whatever it is. So it does attract you to it. So maybe you tell us just a little of the story of the maker's name.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a story of a family, really. The main characters are a father and two sons. Their mother is dead. One of them also has a friend, and he's a fairly central character as well. Now, the two brothers fall out badly after the father dies, and one of them goes off to Brussels to become a celebrity butcher. He's supplying meat to embassies and to hotels and to restaurants and so on and so forth. And he's appearing on local TV over in Brussels, and he's in magazines, and he's a great guy. And at least he thinks he's a great guy himself. And the other one stays at home, and he has a very strong personality, and he uses that strong personality and illegal means in order to build up his family meat business. And he builds it up into a massive operation. And that goes very well until such time as the crash came in 2008. So I was able to write about that. Now, then, of course, one of the brothers has a wife. They both have wives. One of them gets separated, the guy in Brussels. The other fellow has a wife, Penny, and she starts to transfer her allegiance to the guy to Gus, the fella that went off to Brussels, and she goes to visit him, and then she winds up betraying her husband, which is terrible, but there you have it. That's what makes books. And they all, at the end, then they're all back in Ireland, and there's a big denouement at the end of the book, and it winds up with the guy that built up the business using illegal means and the force of his personality, basically getting his comeuppance. He's paid out for all his bad deeds, and that's how it ends.
But it is a very intriguing page turner of a read.
Well, I'm delighted for you to say that. That's fantastic. Thank you.
You want to, but you certainly used all your life experience in the book, because, your butchery, that while you weren't the butcher, you grew up surrounded by butchery. So
that's true.
You absorbed a certain amount of it without even knowing it, probably.
That's true. That's true. Indeed.
So,
absolutely.
And your awareness and the veracity of the butchering scenery and scenario comes across within the the two brothers and their vibe, how they have gone two different directions in some way.
Yeah. That's true, and I'm very happy with that outcome.
So you were very pleased. But like your first writing of the book is for you yourself.
Absolutely.
You then have to have readers who will read it and give their opinions or their valued opinions, because it's very easy when you're writing something, you're very close to it. Sometimes you don't explain something enough so that the story is carried on. Or on the other side, you write too much about something.
Absolutely.
So you do need somebody who's coming in with cold eyes.
Absolutely.
Give you an honest opinion on it.
Definitely. The first draft, like I said, the book grew from the thesis that I did for the creative writing MA in DCU. But of course, that was only a small fraction of the 83,000 words that I wound up with. And when the manuscript was finished, as I thought, I got a company in England that had to pay these people, and they rounded up 6 individuals who are professional, librarians, various people like that, and they became beta readers, and they read the book, and they sent in a report on it, and they absolutely eviscerated what I had written. I mean, it was terrible. The 6 reports that I got back, they pulled no punches whatsoever, and I couldn't even start to tell you the faults that they found with it, but that was okay. The one thing they said was good was my actual writing. They could find no kind of grammatical errors or words that I had misused or anything, and they were able to follow their writing. I took great comfort from that. But they all had a problem with the timing, with the plotting, with the structure, with the story, the way it jumped back and forth, the timeline. Jeepers, don't get me started. So I took all that information and I sat down and I rewrote the whole thing from top to bottom. Obviously, I used the kind of scenes that I had in there to good effect, but I put in more and I took out some and so on and so forth. And then I got the same company to get me another 6 beta readers. And the difference was amazing. I got fantastic reports back from these beta readers. So I was happy then. And that's what I let go out into the world, if you like, the result of that.
So, but you self-published. Was that a personal choice, or was it that you didn't find somebody to jump at it for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, I've got friends who are on the course with me, and we meet up every month to have a chat. And the big bane of our existence is the world of agents and publishers. I sent the book. I sent it out to 30 or 40 different agents, different publishers, got rejected. And eventually, I said to myself, I'm going around in circles here. Nothing is happening. So I decided to take the bull by the horns and I went down what they call the self-publishing route. I prefer to call it independent publishing. But having said that, that's an awful lot of work. I mean, you have to arrange to get the book printed. You have to get the cover made. You have to publicize it then when all that's done. And it's an awful amount of work. And it's work that's time. It's time consuming. And that's time that I would far prefer to be able to spend writing. Now, I had no problem with publicizing, like appearing on shows like yours. I do that all day, every day. I'm delighted to do that. But all the bricks and mortar stuff, I need somebody to do that. So I really would like to get a publisher or an agent.
It's very hard, isn't it?
It is extremely difficult. Now, I'm working on a second novel, and I've got the non-fiction book, which is based on my letters to the Irish Times. So hopefully I'm not going to be a one-trick pony, but time will only tell that.
Well, based on the maker's name, I must say, I don't think you'll just be a one-stop shop. I think that, I know people say that your second novel is the hardest one, but maybe doing your non-fiction, gives an in on that.
Absolutely, yeah. I enjoy writing. I mean, I think you'd be good at anything that you like doing, really. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and the other place that is a possible, I don't know, buythebook.ie. It's a girl in Sligo who works on independent publishing.
Yeah, I've heard about that. In fact, it came up. The reason I heard about it was because it came up in another one of your interviews. So I've been into that website, and I will certainly contact those people.
Yeah. No, Rachel Drury is the girl's name.
Rachel Drury. Yes. I remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure of the business end of it, but I know people who have been in it, with her and have been very satisfied.
Yes. That's a good.
It's another, and she does a lot of PR work and contacted, other authors, publishers, places. So it just gives another outing, and it is an Irish site. So if you go into Amazon or that, and you have the whole problem of getting books in and only a certain number, and
I know. And your Brexit, I suppose the effects of Brexit are starting to diminish a little bit now, but I mean, when it happened first, it was horrendous, the kind of things that were going on. But getting stuff like books. I mean, there's no VAT on books. Why should it be a problem bringing books into Ireland? It's incredible. But
Brexit had a problem with everything.
Everything, absolutely. That's for sure. Yes, I will. I'll contact that lady, and we'll see what we can do. I mean, I'd be wide open to any. You're really pushing an open door there now when you talk about someone like that.
But like there is so much work in the PR work of when you're independently published. But
Absolutely.
and a lot of authors who are published, you know, traditionally will tell you now that unless you're the big names, you still have to do a certain amount of your PR yourself.
That's right. I got that impression. Yeah.
You do get a helping hand,
Sure.
you know, somewhere along the line. But I think it is, and I suppose for the size of the country that we are, we have a huge number of fantastic writers who, for fiction, non-fiction, children's, you know, across the board, we really do. We certainly are a nation of storytellers, I think.
There's no doubt about that. But I take great comfort from that because, you know, the Colin Tobins and the Sally Rooney's and the Anne Enrights and all those people, they're extremely well known in other English-speaking countries. You know, the United States is a massive market. And to be able to come in and say, oh, I'm an Irish author, you know, I'm in the same category as the people that I've just mentioned and many more, Joseph O'Connor, and I could go on, you know. Yeah. And it gives you tremendous credibility to be able to say you're an Irish author.
Yes, and they are all very supportive of...
So I believe, yes.
You know, all Irish authors.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to be the big names or the traditionally published.
Yes.
They are.
I found that. I met Paul Lynch at a function once, and I have to say he was extremely supportive and friendly and helpful. And what you say is very, very true.
It's very much a brotherhood, sisterhood.
Yeah.
You know, and the writers that are around.
You're not.
Very, very good. And I mean, our independent bookshops are a fantastic source.
That's right.
You know, because for the smaller authors starting out, they're very willing as local
That's exactly what I've found myself. Yeah, no doubt about it.
You know, really. And of course, our public libraries are another great source as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the libraries they have been extreme. The libraries in Ireland have been very, very good to me. They've bought enough books so that my book now, The Maker's Name, is available in every library in Ireland, every public library.
Which is fantastic.
It is. It's great.
Listen, thank you very much, Seamus, for a wonderful chat about a super book. I wish you the best of luck with it and your next one. I look forward to reading all these letters to the editor and the background to them, the history and the whatever got you worked up to put pen to paper in first place. So,
yes, indeed.
From Teresa Quinn, Bookline, The Maker's Name, and Seamus McKenna, it's Slán Live, God bless, and good reading.